Hello and welcome to the Filmageddon podcast. You didn't think it could happen, but it has happened. We are back for a third week running. That's gotta be some sort of new record that we're sending here. Do you hear me? Who am I talking to? Someone next to me is going to be very upset. But, yes, I'm Frank Soldato, the Quizmaster here for another episode of the Filmageddon podcast. And as you could hear there, I had not just one, but two laughs from my co-host for this evening, my Quizlings. We're all Quizlings together. Hello to you two, Adam and Blair. How's it going, guys?
It's going well, Frank. Thank you very much for having me back on this podcast that I edit and produce. Thank you for having me, and yeah, it's just great to be back, and it's also great to welcome back to the podcast Blair Treacy. We thought he may have passed into the other life, but no, he's still mortal and he's still on this earth. Blair, how you doing?
I was in exile. I was away for a while, but now I'm back, much like Jesus.
Guess who's back?
Yep.
Back again.
Oh, and Eminem. I'm like Eminem.
Blair likes M&Ms. You heard it here first.
Yep.
Breaking news.
Ooh. All right, guys. We teased it.
Don't do your voice again.
No,
we know what's coming.
We know. So we teased it last week and last week's episode, but sorry about that. Somebody's sick.
Swine flu.
I was just gonna edit that out.
No, but I made a point. Pointing it out. I did a verbal point. And now silence. Anyway, so yeah, we talked about it a bit last week. We said we were going to talk about it this week. It is going to be a special episode dedicated to discussing the newest movie that's just released that we are all very excited to see, Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Guys, have we all seen the movie? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
No. All right, then. We'll join us next week on the Filmageddon podcast, because if I've not seen the film, we can't talk about it. No, of course, we've all seen the film. So, guys, I was very excited for this film. What about both of you?
I mean, I was pretty excited. Not excited enough to go like on the first day or anything, but definitely excited. It's probably the only film in a while that I've been actually excited to see, because I didn't really care about, previous films. But yeah, I mean, it didn't drum up the same like childish excitement as the original Pokemon movie, but I definitely started a little fire in my heart. How about you, Adam?
The fire for me has never gone out, much like the Olympic flame or some sort of candle in the Vatican. The Pokemon has burnt through me. I am now burnt from mouth to buttock. No, I was fucking pumped to go watch it. I'm a bit like you. We're watching all these. You're watching great films in the cinema, and also some really dog shit ones like Hellboy. But
excuse me.
That's a person.
You could have gone to any other film. You've seen a lot of shit films. You watch a lot of shit TV. You could have gone to anything there. That did feel like a personal attack. Thank you, Blair.
It was
much like an old rod would catch a magic carp.
Oh,
my little rod. My tiny little rod dipped into the water has caught a big fish named Frank Soldato. No, we, I've watched a lot of, like, films at the cinema and watched some good, some bad. But even, like, stuff like, Avengers Endgame, I wanted to go watch it, but I can't say that I was brimming with excitement about it. Detective Pikachu, was I excited? I think the closer I got to sitting in the screen, I was like, shit, I'm actually excited about something. And I'm glad it got released. Let's put it that way.
It was one of those films where it feels like it just shouldn't have existed, right? Like when somebody says to you, go back before we knew this movie was coming out. If somebody said to you they're gonna make a live action Pokemon movie, you'd sort of think to yourself, oh my god, this could be amazing. And then they instantly hit you with, and it's going to be Detective Pikachu, and it's going to be about a talking Pikachu, and, it's like based on this game that not many people in the West have played, and I at first, I wasn't really, it sounded like the worst idea ever, to be honest. Like, not that, Pokemon was this sort of glorified. I mean, it is a glorified thing for us, but it wasn't this like, you can't touch this, you can't do anything with this because nothing had been done for so long. But then, the first time they released a trailer for it, I think a lot of people were won over pretty much instantly with the look of the quality and the tone of the film. And then it came out, and I think it did all right. I think I'm pretty happy with the results of it. What about you, Blair?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. I think actually it's good that it wasn't just a general one, like where he's a Pokemon master and he wants to do all this stuff. I think it needed that little like Hollywood, Ryan Reynolds twinge to it to make it good, because Pokemon is fun and everything, but it's fun to play. I don't know if it's really, I mean, obviously people watch the TV show and stuff, but I don't know if it's like a live action one would feel a bit hollow. Do you know what I mean? If it was just like about the story of what the games are like. So I think it was a clever idea to do the Detective Pikachu angle, and I mean, I enjoyed it. It felt there's I don't know what it is, but like I always expect, right? I think it'll be the same if they do like a 3D like RPG as well, where you have this expectation of like, oh, I'm gonna see like real life Pokemon, and then you see it, but it feels a bit hollow almost. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when they revealed like the new Switch Pokemon games, where it was this big like build-up of like, oh, they're finally gonna release a Pokemon game on a console, like a mainstream RPG one.
Yeah.
And then they showed a trailer which showed a bit of what the game actually looks like, and everyone's response was sort of like, oh, that looks sort of just like the things we've been playing on the DS and 3DS, but a little bit better. And everybody had this big build-up inside because they were expecting it to look like the Final Fantasy VII remake, but Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it looks sort of exactly as it has from when it started till now, only like a little bit more polished, and people are disappointed still. But can't wait for that game. And I think the film had that sort of same thing going for it.
Yeah,
I think you're right with that, Frank. I think we all remember being a kid, and we remember when fucking Pokemon came out, because we were that sort of generation where I remember going into school and being like, "Has anyone else seen Pokemon?" And there was me and two other kids who'd seen it on TV, and no one else had like checked or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe they were outside playing and bonding,
Yeah.
Creating friendships that meant that they weren't going to be fucking weird when they get older.
Participating in sport.
Yeah, and it was just me. I won't even say the names, but two other people going like, "Did you watch that show the other day? It's class." But the thing is, that when we first watched it, and I remember, it's early days, it's 150 towards, because even at the start when it's like, and the big bird flew in the sky, and you're like, what the hell is that? Is that more Pokemon? I don't know. I think even as a kid, it went over my head. I didn't go,
literally, because it was a bird.
Hey, it was ho-oh. So, like, the first thing that we did, though, like, when we were in the playground as kids, do you ever remember, like, in your school, like, rumors kind of started building about, like, that they're actually building Pokemon, like, in real life?
Oh, yeah.
And we had, like, in-depth discussion for children about, like, how the government were, like, making, or scientists were making, like, well, of course, they start in a Pidgeotto because, like, Pidgeotto is, like, the easiest thing to make. It's just a bird.
Just a pigeon, yeah.
Yeah, they've built up from there as if we're in any kind of authority on the subject.
Yeah.
And I think, though, like, that instantly you watch the cartoon when you're a kid and you go, imagine this was real. Imagine this is real. And the whole thing of that building up, that when you actually watch this and it's like, when we saw the trailer originally, we saw like the effects and the art direction they went with it, you go, fuck, that is what I wanted. I don't think it works with, I think it works in the opposite way for the games. Because with the games, like you're saying, Frank, it's like people expecting this one thing, and then it's like, no, we're going this direction. You're like, oh, that's not what I was thinking in my head. And it's like very rare that for a film adaptation of a video game or a film adaptation of anything, a cartoon, a fucking comic book, a graphic novel, an anime, whatever, to actually pull it off And I think that's what kind of has taken sort of people aback, really.
Yeah. I mean, whenever I was a young kid and I would, you would always make a wish on your birthday, blowing out your birthday candles. For, I don't know, I'll be honest, the first like 17 years of my life, it was the wish that Pokemon was real.
Well, what about the last 2 days of your life? Because it was your birthday, wasn't it? Were you blowing out, when you blew out your candles, were you wishing for real Pokemon again? Or?
No, I was just wishing for like more mates, probably. No.
Which could be Pokemon. They were all mates.
I went to watch the film on my own on my birthday.
That's... And on that sad note, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Well, I went to watch Pokemon... I went to watch this Pokemon Detective Pikachu movie in the same cinema that I not only watched the original Pokemon, the first movie in, but also it's the same cinema that I ended up working in my small town of Wigan. And I went on a Friday in the middle of the day because I was like, no kids are going to be there. And as I was like, I went up to get a drink, some coffee, which is weird, like to go into a cinema, you're like, I'll have a coffee, please, and one for Detective Pikachu, Pokemon movie, please.
Yeah.
The guy served me was someone I used to work with,
Oh.
so I was like,
oh,
Good
no.
God.
It was it was slightly embarrassing, but then I think he kind of realised it was very on brand.
He's like, yes, I was expecting you to be the first in the queue.
Yeah. For a children's movie at the start of the day.
Here's your free Pokemon cards.
Listen, my free Pokemon cards, I was chuffed with them. I'm chuffed to
That
death.
pissed me off because I didn't get any.
Neither did I, and I was very upset.
Which cinema did you go to? Did you go to the Everyman?
I did go. I went to a Everyman, and just as expected. I thought they're not going to do these, are they?
Yes. I was really annoyed because there was only
Which one did you go to?
the View in Angel.
Well, you should have
surprising.
done it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it was the first showing of the day. It was like 12 showtime, I think, and it was in the biggest screen. No, the second biggest screen. I think Avengers was in the biggest screen. But then there was 6 people, or maybe 7 people, and there was only everybody apart from 4 people were there on their own. Like
everyone else had parental guidance.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
So I guess real quick, we don't want to go into a massive big review of this film, but should we say spoiler alert for the rest of this podcast so we can talk about a bit of this film?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
All right. Well, so the 3 of us saw it. I'm sure we've all got our own opinions on it, but let's just kick things off with really quick. Did you like the film? Yes or no?
yes.
Anybody? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's 3 yeses. 3 yeses
Oh my God,
from
we
3
loved it.
people. No, we didn't love it. Well, I don't know. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was entertaining.
Yeah.
But it wasn't exactly everything I wanted. It went different ways than I thought it needed to go, but what about you?
Well, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't good. Do you know what I mean? I enjoyed it. Like, it felt like it was... honestly, it felt like a lot of it felt like a student film or something. Like, some of the acting was fucking terrible. And the story was a bit stupid. But...
well, like, I thought, like, similar, right? Like, I think when I was sat there, especially, like, I had all these things bubbling away of, like, oh, this is kind of dumb, or that they're not that good. And then it was after the fact when I was like, oh, it is a kid's film. It is like, it felt very much like a 90s like kids movie, like, I don't know, like The Page Master or something.
Sure.
Where it's like, if you look back on The Page Master, you're probably going to be like, that's not that good. It's kind of stupid, and, you know, it's Macaulay Culkin talking to a bunch of books. It's, you know, it's kind of shitty. But so you cut it some slack for that. And I think, during the film, I found myself leaning a bit toward the negative, but then the more I think about it after, the more I'm like, you know what, this film wasn't made for me. And like, taking that into consideration, I actually think, it's all right. It's decent.
I think you're correct, Frank, and you know, I kept it more in my mind that like this is a children's movie, and because of that, I fucking loved it. Because of that, I was like able to just watch it a little bit more through their eyes at the time, and not have to like, I guess, retroactively be like, oh yeah, which I've done in like a lot of films. You know, I've kind of walked away and be like, that was shit, and I'm like, oh,
90% of the films you watch.
Yeah, some. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and I think it's such a simple plot. It kind of, from what I'd read, it's very similar to the plot of the game, which, you know, part of me was always thinking like, well, they've just kind of chose like, so what kind of properties do we have? And you're like, Pokemon, yeah, of course, let's make a Pokemon movie. What do we do? Detective Pikachu. Well, let's try and make up something with that. But I've read it. I've never played the game, but it seems to be very close to the, you know, with a lot big differences in it. Spoiler wise, it's, you know, there's no, oh, it's revealed to be his dad at the end. It's just a talking Pikachu and that's it. But I think I really enjoyed it because of this, like the fact, and because it was for children. It was such a simple plot. You know, there wasn't like, yeah, but like, what if like in this scene he's this and he's that, and even like the opening scene where he's kind of being taught how to catch a Pokemon. It's like, yeah, to me I was like, oh brother, I've seen this before. Like every game I've played, but even then, when you're playing the game, you just go, oh, here's where they tell you how to catch a Pokemon. For the kids who haven't fucking played it.
I think it was good in, like, if I never knew what Pokemon was leading up to that film, like, if I was just watching it, like, I don't know, if I had a kid or if whatever, I was going with friends, they wanted to see it, I think it was a good way of introducing that world without overloading somebody. Like, we all come from a place of, we've played these games sort of since the first game, since the second game. Like, we've been playing these games for about, 20 years now.
And don't say it. Don't say the number.
We've been playing these games for that long. Like, we have it so, like, those, especially the first one, the first two really, but definitely the first one, 151 Pokemon. Like, those are ingrained probably in all three of our minds, and probably a big percentage of the people that went to see that movie. So, like, it's easy to sort of get blinded by things like, when I first saw that, like, the first Pokemon we see is Cubone, isn't it? Like, after the opening scene. And it's just like, oh my god, this is a Pokemon. Like, I want to see a Cubone in the field. Like, this is what I always thought it would be. And then, like, instantly, the kid's like, oh, just throw the ball. And you're like, no, you idiot. You have to fight it with another Pokemon to weaken it. You're never going to catch it, you stupid moron.
Yeah, and then
it's like...
And then he's all surprised whenever it jumps out.
Yeah, and fucking twats him with his little bone. It's great. Like, but, like, that's the thing. Like, that's one of those parts of the film where I was just like... Wait, you've messed up here, writer. No, don't you know these games inside and out like we all do?
You're doing that thing where you push your glasses back up and actually.
Cubones. But you know what? I'll give them credit because they did make a point out of saying that it wore the skull of its dead mother.
Mom, yeah. Whenever they said...
It said relative, actually. I remember it said like, its dead relative, and I was like... You chickened out there by not saying its mother. Say its mummy died.
You cowards!
But whenever they did that as well, it was sort of like, oh, that kid's mum is dead, right? But then I think it's quite heavily implied. But then later on, he actually doesn't. Oh yeah, Pikachu asks him, and he's like, oh yeah, that's my mum, and she's dead. And you're like, oh yeah, of course, that's why the Cubone was there.
I didn't even know. I didn't even realize that till right now. There's so many levels to this film.
Yeah.
Is my mom a Marowak? I don't understand where I am. Let's quickly go through, and Adam, me and you sort of did this with Avengers the other week. But let's each maybe give our favorite thing about the film, and then our least favorite thing about the film. So, Blair, let's start with you. Did you have something in the film that you loved?
Yeah.
What really stood out?
What really stood out is probably how all the texture of all the Pokemon and how well Ryan Reynolds acted in it. I think he was amazing. He was really he suits being like a sassy, caffeine-driven Pikachu. And then my least favorite film, which actually comes like least favorite part of the film, which is something that you sort of touched on, because I'm coming from with my own personal relationship with the series, was like the the choice of the Pokemon that they give airtime to. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of weird ones, like quite repetitive ones. Like there's a weird push for Greninja? He's He's like the main, like it's like the main like
the little soldiers basically.
Yeah, but I mean like they whenever they have an opportunity to put a Pokemon in something, they push Greninja for some reason, like in Smash Bros.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know,
because even in the game you could unlock like Ash's special Greninja, which never made sense.
Oh, maybe it's to do with the anime, but I wanted to see a Lapras. I wanted to see a Lapras and a Pinsir, and that stupid one that looks like ice cream, and then the one that is keys. I wanted him to open the door. They really missed a trick where he just like had a little whatever the key one's called, and he opens his
Keyfla or something.
Yeah. If he opened his dad's flat's door with that, I would have been like, okay, that's fan service.
That would have been good.
Oh, that would have been very good.
But honestly, I just wanted to see a Lapras.
There's some deeper things here with the Lapras that we won't go into in this podcast.
Maybe later.
Seductive eyes.
Adam, what about you?
I guess my favorite thing was my least favorite thing was sort of towards the end with spoiler, the whole thing with like I loved the reveal of like the reveal as if you couldn't see it fucking coming a mile away, but like I at the time didn't because I was so wrapped up as like, oh my god, I'm a kid watching this fucking kids film, when it's like, and that thing that's been wearing sunglasses, it was a Ditto, and I was like, oh shit. And it, it has little dot eyes and everything, and I was like, that's fucking funny, like that is a really good bit. And on the flip side, after that had been introduced and it was like, no, Bill Nye's the bad guy, Bill Nye, whatever.
Bill Nye, the bad guy.
Pokemon guy. Bill Nye. His thing about like, I'm the bad guy. I was like, oh yeah, rich guy's a bad guy. And you're like, no. Rich guy is a bad guy that wants to put himself into Mewtwo. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And now everyone will become a Pokemon. What? That's horseshit. Like, and that was stapled on at the end as like, we need a big scene. Why can't you just have him transform into Mewtwo and be like getting his revenge on people or something?
Yeah.
Just destroying shit.
What I didn't understand, that's a good point. Like, why did he want to turn everybody into a Pokemon straight away? Why wouldn't he like develop this and then like
it was
sell it?
It was a pretty bad idea. Like,
why wouldn't you sell it?
as far as like end games go for like villains, like it didn't make sense. Like I understood like, all right, he was like paraplegic and he was looking at this as a way to himself evolve, which Pokemon do. Okay, that much makes sense. But like it was like, all right, we're gonna put my brain into this Pokemon. All right, that's cool. I can walk. I'm all powerful now. But I want everyone to now be in your partner Pokemon because reasons. And it's like, but this isn't an evolutionary step for everybody else. Like, you've just turned that girl into a Psyduck.
Yeah, like what if your partner was like a Grimer or something, and you're just a little puddle all of a sudden?
Puddle of shite, like the trash bag thing as well.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, Garbatar, whatever is. I don't know the names.
What about you, Frank? What's your sort of favorite and least favorite?
I should have prepared. My least favorite. I can go to that first. My least favorite, and this is just because I'm looking way too much into the film, but why are there giant kaiju-sized Torterras kicking around? Like, it just... I could... Like, what did that add to the plot apart from a set piece? Because that scene ends... And again, spoiler alert. There are these massive Torterras, which are like the final evolution to like the starter Pokemon in whatever game 3 or 4.
He plays,
and they are literally the size of buildings, if not bigger. And there's not just one; there's like a whole flock of them. Where if these things wanted to go have a meal, that would be the plot of a whole nother film. Instead, like
Pacific Rim 3.
They just sort of shake the main characters about for a few seconds and then lay down for a nap again, and you're like, you're just meant to like gloss that under like the rest of the film. Like, oh, we defeated Mewtwo. Phew, things are saved, back to normal. It's like, no, there are monstrously ginormous-sized Pokemon that we have no chance in defeating, and they are within arm's distance of this city. We need to stop them. We need to mobilize. So it's like that little stupid thing really annoyed me. My favorite thing is it is probably just like the world building. I think that despite this film not being perfect, despite this film not being great, like it was decent, it was good. As a Pokemon fan, I'm happy, but I'm most happy that it's building this world that hopefully can be expanded upon in another film. Not saying like a sequel to Detective Pikachu. I just want to see a Pokemon film take place within this world that is closer to what we know as a Pokemon story. So, you know, whether it's somebody going through the Pokemon League or trying to get gym badges or trying to become a Pokemon master, like, I'd want to see that in this live-action form with the sort of effects that they've already sort of broken in with this film and with a whole lot more Pokemon. You know, I want to see Pokeballs. I want to see battles. Like, we got a little look at the battle scene was probably, like, the highlight of the film for me because that's... Even though it didn't play out like a typical one would in the game or the anime, it was the film world's version of it, and I'd like to see that expanded upon in another film later down the line. So, yeah, just those little bits of world building that it's doing.
Well, you said, like, when you said about, like, sort of world building, I agree, like, you know, the whole thing looked amazing, and it was great that there were so many ones that you, like, I think even if someone who was sort of our age who kind of switched off from Pokemon, you know, could go back and the main stars were like stuff like Pikachu and having like the shots of like Jigglypuff and everything. But there were so many ones in there that like even I forgot the names of, and I'm like, what's that big eagle thing that looks like a Digimon? I'm like, oh yeah, that one. Like, oh, that's cool that's in the background. So I think like it does create that curiosity. But do you think that by using Detective Pikachu rather than the main, like, because obviously I touched on it before about like, oh, creating this when you're a kid, you want to see real life Pokemon, but you don't go, I really want to see Ash Ketchum as a live character. You don't really do that. But so when this has come out, it looks great. But I think, do you think they played it safe by picking something like Detective Pikachu, which is like, you know, it's not, you know, the main games. It's not following like Red or Ash or whatever. You know, it's not fulfilling everything that you kind of thought that they would go down the road of. Because, you know, look at fucking the Sonic the fucking Hedgehog as like at no point
that's a
when
whole
I was
nother
a kid,
podcast.
Yeah. Oh, that's an epic, like that's a saga. But like at no point when I was a kid was I like, oh man, I fucking wish Sonic the Hedgehog was real. Because if you're one of those kids, you're on DeviantArt like too much. Do you think they played it safe by picking Detective Pikachu? And would it be open to more criticism if they tried to do like a different live action, like if they tried to remake the Pokemon the first movie?
I think it was sort of necessary for this kind of thing because it needed the charisma of Ryan Reynolds and that sort of character, you know, almost like Ted. Do you know what I mean? Where it's they had to have that dynamic between, oh, I can't believe you can talk and you're so sassy and you drink coffee and you wear a wee hat. You know, if it was just, it's hard to there's hard to put any real emotion in the well, no, it's not true because in the first fucking Pokemon film you would cry your eyes out. Maybe. You know what? I think it was. I think it's probably a good idea from a business standpoint because I can test the waters. You know what I mean, and see if there's a good reaction to this. Then they go, you know what? We can expand this into a bit dorkier territories next time.
That's it. It was actually. Yeah, I don't think it was playing it safe or taking a risk. I just think it was a smart business decision because they decided to make a film with a brand that's known worldwide that everybody loves, which is like an easy way to go. But then they've done it with a version of the property that not many people are familiar with, which is the risk factor. But as Blair said, it's Pokemon Company's way of saying, all right, we make this, you all love it. We don't want to give you what you think you want, because if you hate it, then we don't have to, that's fine. We can take that as we don't want you to hate what we made for you. We'll give you this thing which nobody knows about and nobody necessarily is craving. And if you like that, if you pay to see that, then we know a few years down the line you will come out even more so and give us even more money for what you really want. So I think it was a really solid business decision.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. I mean, you're sitting on the fence now, but I know you guys are right.
With a fence pole right up the bum. Speaking of which,
oh yeah, no, we'll get on to this. I don't know. I came home and I was so buzzing off it. I was like, just going through movies and stuff on this like dodgy box my parents have got, and I was like, Pokemon, the movie I Choose You. What's that? So I watched it, and it was it's because it's like 20 years old, the anime, and so they basically have done like an animated movie of Pokemon. Okay, they release an animated movie of Pokemon every fucking year, but it's now like 50 million, and it's like Mew 9, and this time this time he fancies Ash, but Ash doesn't remember him. So this one's basically like a condensed version of a few of the first episodes from the first series.
Yeah,
it descends into like a story about Ho-Oh and then like some evil little cunt called Marshadow.
Jesus.
Marshadow, and he's making everyone have negative thoughts. So I'd just like to thank Marshadow for sponsoring the podcast.
This is oh boy.
Oh dear.
Like, we've just been getting more and more into it. I remember a few years back when X and Y came, and that was the founding of the East London Pokemon Club.
Oh, God.
This is out there now. We were on the bandwagon again before everyone else got on it.
Tell the story, Frank. Tell it proper.
I think the story is just that all three of us wanted to buy Pokemon X and Y, and then one day we met up after we all had them with our 3DSs, like a couple of fucking... I can't say the words that I want to say. In where were we? What was it?
We went to
Cafe
1001.
Cafe 1001 down Brick Lane with our 3DSs and our Pokemon games, and we all just sat there in a booth drinking coffee, playing Pokemon, and just comparing our Pokemon and
chatting to loads of girls.
There were loads of girls around, I'm sure.
Macking on chicks.
There were Big Macs.
Yes.
Yes.
And so we've always had that affinity for, and now it's happening again, guys. It's coming out for the Switch, and we've all got our Switches, and there's the trading card game online, which is free to play, and you don't have to spend a penny, and you could just play it, and you can get cards for free, and it's Pikachu. Oh, sorry, oh, God. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I've been playing it as well. Me and Frank played it till like 1 a.m. the other day. Just sat there, just on like voice chat to each other, just back and forth, just playing Pokemon fucking trading card game. As I look at myself and go, is this what I imagined early 30s was like?
I never even learned how to play the game when I was a kid. I just bought the cards. I bought the cards to be like, I've got this one. Never learned how to play it. And now, when I'm 34 years old, I'm finally playing Pokemon. And you know what? I realized I'm pretty good.
So fucking surprise.
Because I'm beating a bunch of kids online.
I don't know if they're going to be kids. They're all going to probably be our age.
Yeah, exactly.
I would hope so. It would make me feel less sad about how the way things have gone. One question I wanted to bring up, which was... So we've got this movie, it's Detective Pikachu, it's sort of putting the whole focus, right, on the Pikachu character. We're less focused about the storyline of the games, and we're spinning it off into this one character story in the game world. Like, it is based on a game, but it sort of goes its own path. With video game movies, the whole thing has been, the history is bad, right? There's probably been some halfway decent ones, but never anything really amazing. Maybe some good ones, but most of the time terrible. Do you think this is the way to go with these sort of films. Like, you know, you take the world itself and you just set a story within it, whether it's based on a game that's come out or not. So, you know, if you want to make a Dead Space movie, you don't have to do a film following the exact storyline of the game. You can do a side story, or you could just set it within that world. Same with any game. Like, do you think this was a smart move to make, and would you like to see this for more video game movies in the future?
Yes, I think that it is a good idea, because the problem that everyone has, and I guess we touched on it earlier, with whenever they make video game movies, or movies even based off video games, everyone has their own relationship with the game going into it, and it's very precious to them. So whenever someone reimagines it, you know, you go, oh, but I didn't think they would look like that. You know, like if they made like a Metal Gear Solid film, right? They could pretty easily make a live action Metal Gear Solid film, but it could be like a good film, but everybody would be like, oh, Raiden shouldn't look like that, or, you know, it's already in your mind too much. And that's why it's the same with books. People, whenever they make a film out of books, everyone goes, oh, well, I didn't think that, you know, X or Y was meant to look like this, so I don't like this film now. You've not made it how I wanted it. So I think it's probably the best way you can do it, because, like you say, you're creating a separate narrative. But I guess it's easier in like big, wide open, long spanning games like Pokemon.
Sort of like if you were to make like a Red Dead Redemption game, like you'd just make up a new character, and you would just maybe, like, when he's in the village at one point, you'd bump into John Marston, and that would be it. Like, the rest of the game would be like, oh, it's this Wild West thing, and you're going to the towns from the game, but you're doing a whole nother story with new characters, and you're sort of you're on the periphery of that world without actually straight up adapting the story, because everyone has their own experience with a game, whereas with a film, you're sort of trying to give everybody the same thing.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. I mean, like, you know, if the minute you do have those characters that are so, you know, a lot of these characters in games, films and games and books, and, you know, they're so different in how they approach telling a story. Look at Red Dead. Even just, I mean, I haven't played the original, the original or fucking Red Dead Redemption, but I played Red Dead Redemption 2, and, like, yeah, you do come to love the characters, but it takes a long time because this fucking game is so long. Same with Pokemon. Like, the amount of time that you spend in the Pokemon world, you know, you're mainly just, you know, like, I'm just gonna go fight in the grass for a bit. I'm gonna go beat the Elite Four again or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that, like, having these, like, strong characters is a stumbling block, because you can't be true to them. You're never going to be everybody's idea of it. So it is best to set it in the world. You, Blair, touched on Metal Gear Solid, which is a film they are doing anyway.
Yeah.
With Jordan Voight.
Voight Roberts.
Roberts.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Beardy.
I knew that, actually.
But I think that, like, Metal Gear Solid is a bit different because how it's, like, sort of written out, you can imagine that as a film anyway, because of just how it starts. And I feel like the when, like, Kojima made it, he was, like, thinking more of a narrative way of, you know, of telling the story. Pokemon normal games, there's narrative pieces, but it's not like, you know, at the end you're not like, wow, what a game, because it's just more of an experience as you're going through it. And I think, like, you know, Frank, you're right. If you had, like, certain locations, look at GTA. There's so many people who have, like, you know, I never really grew up playing GTA games because my mum was like, you can't play them. But, like, I can see that people have, like, certain characters like CJ or whatever that they enjoy playing as. But, like, if you just have CJ in it, it's like, oh, this guy's playing CJ. Then it's never going to be the CJ that you want it to be. And also, these games are so open world, so broad, that you're just like, there's not really. It's more of GTA is more of an experience. So I think you could easily sell a film as Grand Theft Auto, and even have it as, like, the first one is fucking, I don't know, whatever the first proper GTA one was, like Vice City or San Andreas or something like that. And you just have these different cities, and you build it up, and it would easily, like, by the end of it, it would easily look like something like fucking Fast and Furious, which borrowed a lot of its kind of approach to stuff from, games in itself. It's very flashy. It's very much like all about the cars and everything. So I can imagine that they just use the titles like Vice City, San Andreas for the locations of the films, but just building up their own world, which is what all these fucking studios want to do anyway.
Well, it's very interesting because there's so many different games, so many different genres of games, and up until now, I don't think there's been that consensus by people that, there is a video game movie that is good, right? Like, a lot of people liked the original Mortal Kombat. I put myself in that category. I enjoyed it, but it isn't a good film. A lot of people liked the Resident Evil series.
Yeah.
And they made, 6 of those or something?
Did. And I watched 3 of them in a row the other day.
You did. And they're rebooting it and making more now, but a different series of it.
Fuck.
And the same people that made the Resident Evil series are making a Monster Hunter movie series now. And it's just like, they're never going to stop making video game films because, weirdly, however bad the reputation is for them, they make enough money to get by. So it's just hoping that companies, I don't know, learn a lesson from Detective Pikachu. And again, like I've said, like you guys have said, it's not the perfect movie. It could have been a lot better. But it's a step in the right direction. And hopefully, one day we'll be getting a great like Mario film, a Legend of Zelda film, and if we really, really behave and do our best, maybe even adaptation of Shrek Swamp Kart Speedway.
Oh,
yes. Come on,
talking.
Pokemon have layers.
You're in his Swamp Kart Speedway.
Brilliant.
2002 Game Boy Advance. Go out and buy it now. Oh God, I mean, why not at this point? I do have sort of a last question, kind of. We spoke a lot about the film, like how the world was built and everything, and the approach to detail about certain especially certain look at Pikachu and how Pikachu looks and how the fucking fur flows on it and everything. I've got a big
Hit me.
Guys. I've got to know which Pokemon would you fuck?
Yes. Well,
Tell
as
me.
you know, I've actually been thinking about this quite a lot and sharing my thoughts. I've got do you want to hear a top 5?
Yes.
All right. So.
And why? You've got to give me just a quick fire of why you want to fuck that. Not want to fuck the.
Oh no, it's want.
You listen. Oh, okay. Frank, you don't have to, but you're being ordered to by
okay.
a murderer.
Yeah, right. So I think I would. I mean, Jinx is an obvious one.
In at number 5.
Or maybe number 1. Let me just say the 5, and then we can sort of figure it. Depends how I feel on the day.
Okay, but
So
Blair,
probably
I've got to stop you because Jinx.
Poliwhirl.
I think we kind of just we discussed that in the past this is how fucking sad our lives are.
Magikarp.
In the past we discussed.
No, some people discuss this in the past.
Yes.
Some people abstain from the conversation.
Well.
Okay, me and Blair have discussed in the past. I think if you have too much of a humanoid-looking one, it's a kind of an easy pass. A Jinx is just a dodgy
Well,
night
that's
out.
why you would do it then, because it's the
Manchester.
most normal-looking one. What you're not gonna unless you're feeling exotic. Oh yeah, you know what? Okay, I said Poliwhirl because I don't know what happens if there's a little hole in the middle of the swirl, but I'd like to find out.
Oh boy.
I would then probably do. What was the other ones? I think Magikarp, but then I don't know because, in the film, maybe it evolves into a Gyarados, and I lose everything.
Oh.
And then it fucks you.
Exactly. And then what other ones? I would probably. You know what? If I'm fucking a Pokemon, I might as well just go gay as well, and I do a Machamp. No. I forgot the only one that has a bra on. Nidoqueen, because she has a bra.
Oh,
so you can sort of try and rationalize that.
There's been too much thought put into this.
Well, you asked, so
No, Adam asked.
It would be rude for me to just go, oh, none.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for playing along. I think you've got to have an open mind with Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's the experience is what you make of it, and I loved your rationale.
This is the problem. Like, I spent so many years trying to believe and hope that they would become real. That the mind wanders. Obviously, the main thing is to go on adventures and battle with them, but a guy can get lonely.
That's true. That's true. I mean, we don't know what Ash and Brock were doing. We know Misty probably just kind of rolled over.
No, we know
what
Brock was
doing.
Oh, he was a randy man. He was a randy man.
You.
That's a.
They had to write him out of the show for a bit because he was a bit too randy.
Bit handsy.
Very touchy.
Hey.
Hey. Frank, what about you? I mean, I know Blair's kind of skipped over. He did say a few days ago that he would like an Oddish to sodomize.
No. Let me clarify. I said that I think the biggest Pokemon that I could fit up my butt would be an Oddish.
That's true. He did like a little butt plug.
Yeah, like feet first, so his little hairstyle fits out. Because I think it would be quite spiky.
Yeah, and you got a way to get him out quick and easy. Then
what about you, Frank? Like, what are we talking here? Like,
I tried to give it some thought, and
you
know
did,
what?
You randy bastard.
I saw after seeing the film, my rationale here is you gotta fuck the Ditto. The Ditto,
damn it.
The Ditto can be whatever you want, and as the film taught us, whoever you want.
That's a good one.
You know what? It not even just a Pokemon, which up until the film I thought the Ditto could only turn into Pokemon. But the film opened my world up to the point that the Ditto can turn into people. And you know what? They just keep the sunglasses on, turn into Sexy Mick Sexy Sin, and get on that dick, Ditto. And I don't care if the Ditto is a guy or a girl. It's turning into whatever. It's a crazy new world we get. Everything is, bleep it out,
What about you, Adam?
Thanks for asking. I was looking at some pictures the other day. I think
of sexy girls dressed as Pokemon.
No, just Pokemon. I think Sandygast. Do you remember Sandygast? It was just was
that the
start?
I think Sand Crocodile.
Sandygast.
It was the.
Sounds like someone I went to school with.
It was not the full Sandcastle one, which was Palo Sand. I'm talking Sandygast, which was like the pre-evolution to it, and it's a lump of sand with a big hole in the middle and a spade sticking out of it.
Oh wow!
And the spade is you in this scenario.
Exactly. So Sandygast is up there. The evolution of Misdrevious, Miss Magius. I like that because I had a good vibe off her. Like I just really I think she had a good spirit to it, and she was literally
and she had a nice necklace.
All right.
Yeah, exactly, which is good luck charm in some places. And then, listen, I've kind of, I've looked past having the human thing of, like, Jinx. I've got to throw one out there, though. Gothitelle.
Right. Oh, I know Gothitelle, and it makes perfect sense for you.
Exactly. It ticks all the boxes, but it's also a bit of a challenge. It's psychic.
Astral body.
And its ability is frisk.
Oh.
And I mean, what can you say about that? So that's and listen, listeners, you gotta fuck off all this trivia.
I know one.
Fuck all the shit. Let's get to the thing. What Pokemon would you fuck?
Gardevoir.
Yeah, we should. You gotta. Ooh, that sounds painful.
No, it would be real seductive.
I mean, I think there's a lot of pictures I'm finding online now. I'm doing a search, and it's harrowing, if I'm honest. I think we should probably share some of these photos on our social media accounts. Adam,
I don't think so.
Adam, what are the social media accounts?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. And now, is this for the audience or for you guys? It's at Filmageddon Quiz on Twitter or at Filmageddon. Just Filmageddon on Instagram. We've been posting a lot more stuff on the Instagram. any artwork. Now, this is please don't hijack this. But I've been past week just looking at any film art that I've seen, any kind of interesting shit, just reposting. Just anything that kind of. I think everyone would like, and there's some cool original
and some stuff
that
probably just you like.
It's just stuff that I think is kind of cool.
Well, thanks very much for the social media details, Adam. That's going to be very helpful for all our fans out there, and that's what all you listeners are. You're fans, unfortunately. When you downloaded this podcast, you became a fan. So yeah, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Be sure to download episodes of the Filmageddon podcast, this one, which you're listening to, so you don't have to download that one, I would imagine. But hey, if you missed some in the past, go back into the back catalog. And you know what? We're probably going to be back next week with another episode. Do we have any idea what we're going to talk about yet? No, but it could be which character in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie we'd want to fuck. You never know.
Rouge the Bat.
I gotta go, damn it.
James Marsden all the way.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. What a handsome man.
He is a handsome person. Guys, Adam, thank you very much for joining me.
No worries, Frank. Oh, Blair, hello as well.
Well, I was going to do Blair next. You just jumped in there.
Sorry, I thought you'd forgot.
This is where I'll send you to the Safari Zone, you cunt.
Whoa.
Please.
That's right. We're whipping out all the language today. Thank you, Blair, for joining me as well.
No problem, mate. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you indeed, the listeners, for joining us, because we wouldn't do it if it weren't for you. And guys, until next week, hopefully, this has been all of us here at the Filmageddon podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Guys, don't forget, tweet at Filmageddon Quiz, which Pokemon